So on December 5th, 2019, at a meeting of the Board of Governors for the University of British Columbia, this university, the UBC Declaration on the Climate Emergency was endorsed. With this endorsement, the university recognized, and I'm quoting here straight from the Office of the President website, quote, the need for drastic emissions reductions as laid out by the science of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, the UN Production Gap Report, and the Paris Agreement to be achieved via rapid and far-reaching transformations across all economic sectors. The university also acknowledged, and I'm going to quote again, that UBC as a public institution is a recognized leader in taking action to combat climate change and has a mandate to effect change beyond our institutional borders, with a fundamental responsibility to advance a sustainable and just society across British Columbia, Canada, and the world. So I've begun this talk by highlighting the climate emergency and UBC's declared commitment to respond to it as a way of setting the stage for thinking about how the wide array of stakeholders in sport and sport hosting, including those at and around UBC, might respond to one of the most pressing issues of our time. When I say stakeholders here, I'm referring not only to sport managers or those concerned with sport-related issues like researchers, activists, or some government officials, but also to any citizen who's impacted by sport hosting, and recognizing that, like it or not, that means pretty much all of us. And when I say one of the most pressing issues of our time, I'm referring to the IPCC's assessment that global warming must be limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial levels if we're to avoid some of the more catastrophic impacts of climate change, and that to achieve this, immediate action and far-reaching transformations are necessary. So that's my first answer to why now and why here. There's some other important, if a little less urgent and momentous reasons that we're holding this event today as well. The year 2020 marks the 10th anniversary of the Vancouver and Whistler Olympic and Paralympic Games. And for many, this anniversary is a moment for reflection on the legacies of the event, including memories of great experiences of various kinds, athletic successes, transformations in and around Vancouver, including here at UBC, as well as memories of struggles, tensions, and problems related to the Games. I think with our lineup of excellent panelists today, I have no doubt that some discussion of the legacy of these Games will be in the mix. And just as this is the 10th anniversary of the Vancouver and Whistler Games, this year also marks the 10th anniversary of the launch of the Center for Sport and Sustainability. The center, which, as Rob mentioned in the introduction there, which is based in the School of Kinesiology here at UBC, was initiated and founded by a former director of the school, Robert Sparks, in the lead up to the Vancouver and Whistler Games, with an explicit aim of engaging with the kinds of questions that we'll be engaging this evening. Questions concerning, on one hand, how such events can be enabling for many, leverage for good, and on the other hand, questions about who benefits most and least from such events, about how decisions are made about how to carry out events, and who has most say on key matters. And of course, questions about the environmental issues related to such events, recognizing that the environmental record for host cities of many sport events is mixed. And in fact, the first and perhaps most notable activity that was carried out through the Center for Sport and Sustainability was the Olympic Games Impact Study, or OGIE as it's known for short, that focused precisely on the range of impacts and legacies of the Vancouver and Whistler Games. And it's no coincidence that the leader of the OGIE study, and I'm pointing to the set right here, Rob Van Weinsberg, is on our panel, as is Caitlin Pendafello-Gott, who was involved in that study as well, and they're both panelists this evening. So again, I suspect that reflections on that study will be part of our discussion. I'll also acknowledge Matt Dolph, who I'll be introducing later on, along with the rest of the panel, who was the first graduate researcher and administrator for the Center for Sport and Sustainability. And it's his early organizational and communication work that really formed the foundation for, I think, so many of the things we've done subsequently. And of course, Robert Sparks, who couldn't make it tonight, deserves recognition as the founder and first director of the CSS. There would be no CSS if it were not for Bob Sparks.